name is Jalaine Weller, and I work back at UTEP in El Paso, where I work first of all in a grant office that's related to the STEM field actually, and second I teach freshman English. At the time of this class I was working on my master's thesis for a master's in English and American literature. The first project we worked on as a class was the altar for the Smithsonian Latino Center. And so then the next thing that we did was ultimately the museum itself. And this presented a really unique opportunity for us because it enabled us to visualize our research. So suddenly lists of facts that we were gaining through our research became depicted in an actual visual world, a 3D space. So for me personally, I researched the food black-eyed peas for this particular class and found a number of really interesting facts, I guess you could say. And my challenge was to show what these would have actually looked like in the world in which they were used so commonly. And so the first thing that I visualized was how people were able to actually buy these peas, and that led to me placing them in barrels in the marketplace. And then how did people actually cook these peas? And that led me to setting up a little stand in the community center where a woman had black-eyed peas cooking, and we could see the pot actually stirring and steaming with these peas, and there was a recipe there as to how to make them, and artwork surrounding her that depicted people actually eating those during that time period. I came across an interesting fact that black-eyed peas were used to fence off the subsistence gardens that various individuals were using to grow their own food. And so rather than use actual fencing, they took the vines of these black-eyed peas and would plant them around the edges of the garden to, fence them off. And what was interesting about this even further was that various farm animals would feed off of the vines. And so the individuals would gather the actual peas themselves to make a large variety of different foods, but then their cows and other animals would come and eat the vines. And so this plant alone was feeding many purposes for both the people and the animals of this time. Nothing was being discarded, I guess you could say. So that was an interesting fact that normally in a traditional paper I would just write that and become a list of facts in a sense. But here in an immersive virtual world, you can actually see this, and it becomes much more real, and in my opinion, becomes more valuable and seems to be not a side fact, but a key fact to the overall story of this food and the food way.